Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be covering some of your burning questions and comments that I haven't gotten to in the comments section and giving you the opportunity to ask some more. And also, we are going to cover a recent community post where I asked many of you to type Darth Vader without looking. And we're going to try to read some of those. Some of you did very well. Some not so good. So we're going to be covering some interesting community interactions in this video. If you guys are new here to the channel, we are doing a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. That's going to be running until early March, so you're going to have still time left to enter to win that. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Plus, social media links are down in the video description below. If you want to check out social media links, if you want to get into our Discord, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, all of that good stuff, it's all linked down there. And yeah, I'd love to get back with you guys. Now, a lot of questions and comments that are asked in our comment section, I do try to get to many of them. There are certain ones that I just don't have the time to get to, or maybe certain ones I think need a little more emphasis, so I wanted to do those here. I've been talking a little bit about board games lately, so the first one is, have you seen the new Nemesis Kickstarter? So, yes, I have. I've actually done a video on it. I love Nemesis. The new one, I think it's called Retaliation. I'm actually going to be doing, they actually just opened up for late pledges, so if you missed it, you can still go back in there and pledge for it. Late pledge, you might not get the very, very first shipping. You may be in like the second wave, or you may have to wait like a week longer than anybody else. I'm not exactly sure how their late pledges work, but that's usually how late pledging has worked in the past. Still a great opportunity for you to go in and get something. Excellent opportunity for if you've never played Nemesis before. I mean, this is a great way to get like a whole lot of stuff. You can get all the old game stuff too. I mean, they have a flex pay. I'm actually going to be talking more about crowdfunding and some excellent games in there. I actually recently pledged for one that I didn't expect myself to be pledging for, but I want to talk more about crowdfunding in future videos. I want to be getting into that a little bit more. So to answer your question, yes, I have seen the new Nemesis Kickstarter, and it looks very interesting, and it makes me want to play Nemesis some more. I'm actually trying to play that in a couple of weeks because it's a super cool game. Next up, the old pandemic Battlefronts are releasing on PC and PlayStation and Xbox soon. Apparently, Kid Fisto and Ventress are in it, and Ventress has something very interesting to Crabbok in her possession. Now, this one isn't technically a question, but yes, I have seen this. I had to go look it up, though, and I hadn't seen it before you mentioning this. So, no, apparently in Battlefront 2, I think it is, Asajj Ventress is on there, and she is using lightsaber nunchucks. So rest assured, my friends, I will be checking this out. We'll try to stream it if I can manage that, and we'll do some Asajj Ventress lightsaber nunchucking it up. Now, I want you guys to know that lightsaber nunchucks, while that's always been my little thing, as you can see down here, right? I've always had this thing for lightsaber nunchucks. They've actually been canonized lately in the comics. Obi-Wan was like giving a lesson to Anakin or whatever, and he talked about in his youth he connected two lightsabers and with a chain together. And then there's also, I believe there's also a Jedi in the High Republic that uses lightsaber nunchucks. So, with all that being said, it's nice to see lightsaber nunchucks actually becoming more of a thing. I'm very happy about that. And, of course, I won't get credit for it when it actually becomes mainstream, but I want you guys to know that I was here first with the lightsaber nunchucks. I've been here for over 10 years. I've been doing lightsaber nunchucks. Like, I've been pushing for nunchucks for over 10 years. I've been trying to do it forever. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right, moving on. Is Shatterpoint catching on? I don't see or know anybody playing it, so if it's off my radar, I think mostly. Yeah, so this is I actually get asked this a lot, and it's tough for me personally to say. I don't see people posting about Shatterpoint very often, but then again, there's also like plenty of Shatterpoint news and like the AMG Discord and stuff like that. And there's a Shatterpoint Discord, and so people do talk about it. People talk about Marvel Crisis Protocol. No, I'm not piped in to it, I guess, because I don't see a whole lot of people talking about Shatterpoint. I hear some people who have played it said that they're not crazy about it. I don't know. I've heard some people saying that it's not doing well, but then again, that's not necessarily like rumors and talk like through the grapevine doesn't really. It's not something we should take with a as absolute certainty. The shatterpoint success or failure, is something that will become evident if eventually they stop making it or something like that. I think as long as it's doing well enough, they'll continue to make it. So I think if you see a lot of Shatterpoint news at Adepticon this year, then that probably means it's still doing pretty well. That's usually the factor. The money talks in this world. So if it's still selling, then they'll keep making it. But really, as far as how much people are playing it, I don't know. I would wager that, like certain other games, there are probably some folks buying some kits in here for the sake of the models and not necessarily for gameplay. That certainly was the case a lot of times with X-Wing and Armada. I would see a lot of people would have these on their shelves because it was a beautiful model. Maybe less so with the ones that they have to actually assemble and paint themselves. I think collectors are definitely more interested in buying pre-painted models, but either way, they're great miniatures, and I could see people wanting them for the miniature quality and also possibly for the gameplay. I don't think the gameplay is bad, but it started to fade off of my radar a little bit. I still will talk about it, just not as much. I'm not doing like every single spoiler for every single thing, although I'm still doing them occasionally. So that's kind of where it is for me. I enjoy the game and I can still play it again. It's just not my favorite. Yeah. All right. Where do you get your paint? I really love the paint job on the Venator. I actually see a lot of questions about paints, and this one is this was in relation to, I believe, a short where I was doing some Armada, showing off some Armada ships. I've had people ask me a lot of times, like, what paints do you use, what types of paints, or what color of paint, how did you get that shade? So I use a couple of different paints. I've used some Green Stuff World paints, but usually I use a Vallejo and Citadel paints. So I usually use Vallejo paints, some of their regular Vallejo paints, and then sometimes I use some of their Vallejo Air, because those are thinner, and sometimes I'll use an airbrush. I will use Citadel usually for washes, and I'll use Citadel paints for certain ones that are very, very good. Like they have this really good gold that's super, super bright, and it's, there's certain, every once in a while, like a company makes just a paint that's just incredible. Like for example, Vallejo Air has a really good silver that it's thin enough to go through an airbrush, but you can just use it as a regular silver, and it really pops. You don't have to like undercoat it very much. It's just going to be a really bright and vibrant silver, and it's really good for like swords and things like that. So, or belt buckles and all kinds of super shiny details that you really want to pop. Now, as far as and by the way, thank you. But for the paint job on the Venator, I can't give you a specific paint or paint color because I mix my paints. Usually, when I'm trying to I believe, for Armada, I do a lot of airbrushing for my base coats. And I'll use Vallejo Black and Vallejo White. And I'll mix them in the pot and then do some sample sprays next on on a sheet, or a cardboard sheet, or a piece of wood or something like that next to kind of a Star Destroyer. And I'll just keep going, holding it, keep spraying, adjust, stir, mix, just try that. Oh, that's too white. Oh, that's too dark. And I'll just keep doing that until I get the shade that I want. Now, to be fair, my Venator, I didn't hit it just right, but I got it close enough to where I was like I felt happy with it. And as far as that's kind of how I get my colors. And unfortunately, that's not as helpful as I'd like it to be, because I'd love to just tell you, oh yes, I use Imperial 436 from Crabbok Paint Company, at this URL. I'd love to be able to tell you exactly what I use, but unfortunately it's just a mixing process for me. And that's difficult when I have to try and recreate it. It's one of those deals where if you're gonna do it, you need to do like all your ships at once, and I only mix in the pot for the airbrush. So so you kind of, at a certain point, you kind of have to, get on board with the idea that my paints aren't going to be perfect, and then my if I do a whole fleet this way, they're not all going to look exactly the same. So in that point, like, especially if you're starting a new game, like if they were to bring Battlefleet Gothic back, and I was going to paint a whole new fleet, I always hear rumors that's actually going to happen. I hope that does happen someday. It'd be really interesting, but it would be really cool to do that. But it would be a time where I'd have to just pick, all right, this is going to be my base coat color, because then if you do a wash over the top of a Star Destroyer or something like that, there's so many flat surfaces it doesn't sit well. So you kind of have to do a pin wash, where you do like a really, really super fine brush, and you just kind of just wash along the certain lines. That can make the lines pop a little bit, or you just don't wash at all. It's always very tricky to try to do a Star Destroyer really, really well. But yeah, those Imperial ships with the flat surfaces, airbrush is definitely what I recommend. All right, and Janeway, her bun unfurled. Not exactly a question, but Shaka, when the walls fell. All right. No, I do love Dathan and the Temerians and the Children of Tama. What a great episode. It's a Star Trek episode, if you guys aren't familiar. All right, so I did ask a lot of you guys to try and type Darth Vader with your eyes closed. I want to run through some highlights from this one. Some of you did pretty well. There was some that got it perfectly, which I kind of question that, but I believe it's possible. We have Darth's Vader, which is that's Vader when he's had a few beers, you're playing pool and you kind of break away from that and you say, let's throw some darts. He uses the Force when he throws those darts, though, so that's pretty good. We have Dart Gvzisfer. That one was a little tricky there. We also have Devk Vizgvk. That one's bad. That one you need to practice typing a little more. Did you do that on your phone? Darth Vader. Now, capitalize the D in Darth, but the Vader was lowercase. So you knew where the shift key was, but I feel like you chose not to do it. And then putting the Y on the end there, like Y is not that close to an R. I feel like he'd force choke you for that one. I'd never call him Vader. DT Cafe. I like the capital E in there too. It puts the emphasis in a different place for the DT Cafe, where they serve only the finest in Imperial cuisine. Would you get a Yoda soda at the DT Cafe, I wonder? Chef Kader. That one is pretty far off. You weren't even trying, I wonder. Darth Nade. Nadet or Nade? I feel like it's a little European. Darth Nade, along with a Darth Vasir. Two of the other Sith who are quite prestigious and a little bit eccentric, I hear. But overall pretty close. The Darth was right on both of them. Darth Cadter. No, not to be confused with Darth Cat Turd, which would definitely get you force choked if you were to call him. But yes, that one, I feel like that was done on purpose. And this one was not done on purpose. Sargbugviskiet. I don't even know how we came up with that. I don't know how that happens, but there were definitely some better than others. I want to thank you guys. Stay tuned for the next challenge. It's always fun to try to type with your eyes closed, and I love seeing all of your successes and failures. It's an absolute blast. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today. Drop your questions down in the comments section. Keep them coming. We will talk more. I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and big thanks to Patreon, to my patrons over there. You guys definitely help make this channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. So say we all. The spice must flow. And have a great day. And always wash your socks.